So, we brought you a couple weeks ago that New York City has introduced its first ever congestion charge, the first ever congestion charge in the United States, something that we have become used to in major European cities. London's had theirs for over 20 years, and there's a bunch of others throughout the continent as well. But this is a completely alien concept, not only to the United States, but I think the Americas as a whole. I don't think anywhere else has done it. I mean, maybe Canada's done it somewhere. Canadian viewers, let us know if that is the case. But the reasoning behind wanting to do this was to improve the congestion, to reduce the traffic overall in New York City. And in the very short term, it has absolutely achieved that, because New York City traffic has fallen after the congestion fee has been implemented. Now, there's a full article here on the BBC News. Let's go through this, guys, and I'll give my thoughts on it, because I can see parallels already between this and what happened in London. And I've analysed what happened in London many years ago as well. But yeah, let's have a look at what's happened in the Big Apple here. Full article on BBC News. Traffic in New York City has fallen since the congestion charge scheme for vehicles came into effect on the 5th of January, the transport officials have said. The Metropolitan Transportation Authority, MTA, said 273,000 fewer cars entered the central business district from Monday to Friday, with traffic falling by 7.5% compared with estimates for January weekdays before the scheme was put in place. The congestion fee, the first of its kind in the United States, charges car drivers up to $9, around £7 per day, with varying rates for other vehicles. The congestion zone covers an area south of Central Park, taking in such well-known sites as the Empire State Building, Times Square, and the financial district around Wall Street. The early data backs up what New Yorkers have been telling us all week. Traffic is down, the streets feel safer, and buses are moving faster, said Jano Lieber. I think that's how you'd say it. Maybe Jano Lieber? Not sure. Who heads the MTA? Motorists are also saving time, while local express bus routes are moving faster, especially in the morning commute, the MTA posted on X, formerly known as Twitter. The scheme aims to ease New York's notorious traffic problems and raise billions for the public transportation network. Most drivers are charged $9 once per day to enter the congestion zone at peak hours, and $2.25 at other times. Small trucks and non-commuter buses pay $14.40 to enter Manhattan at peak times, while larger trucks and tourist buses pay $21.60. While the charge has been welcomed by many, it has encountered plenty of opposition. The most high-profile opposition has come from President-elect Donald Trump, a native New Yorker who has vowed to kill the scheme when he returns to office later this month. Last year, New York City was named the world's most congested urban area for the second year in a row, according to INRX, a traffic data analysis firm. Well, this is the thing. I'm always caught in two minds about this, and it's far too early to definitively say whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. It has achieved its initial goal of getting less people to drive in that area of New York City during peak hours. It's done that. But there's a lot more milestones and a lot more steps that it has to hit to be able to say that this has been a success. Now, the big one there is, of course, the money that is used generated from this scheme. Now, they say they're going to invest this in public transport, and we have to give that time to be done. You can't just change things overnight. They said billions of dollars, so let's try and improve New York's public transportation network, which honestly I've heard is probably one of the best in the United States, but is far from perfect. And I've also heard from people who have visited, people who live there, that you compare it to London's Tube, London's Underground network, for example, and it's very grotty and dirty and not the nicest. Those depictions that we see in some of the Batman films, for example, with Gotham, which is basically like a bad New York, is not that far off of what it's actually like, which is not great. So there is that. So we have to see, this money has to be invested in better public transportation, because more people are going to get public transport because it costs them more to go through the city. We have to see if the pollution levels as well, if those start to fall in New York City. That'd be very interesting to see. We just want to get people's opinions on it. And if you're from New York, or you live in New York, I should say more accurately, because again, like London, it's somewhere where people flock to from around the world. I can imagine most people in New York weren't born in New York, or even the United States for that matter. Could be wrong there, don't have the stats, but I can imagine it's not far off. I want to hear what you guys say about it. I want to hear your opinions about it, and it'd be interesting to see if Trump can actually get rid of it, if he keeps his word on that one. I know he will be the president, but I've heard that it's it's a state decision or a city decision or something like that. So whether he has the power to do that, well, probably has the power to do it, but will he wield that power to do it? We'll see. Can't predict that man. Can't predict him. Absolutely not. You love him or hate him, which there's a lot of people love him. There's a lot of people that hate him. He's very unpredictable as a political leader for sure. So we'll see if he actually does it. But yeah, it's achieved its initial aim. But the last caveat to this is the long-term impact. So yeah, right. You've got people being charged. You're generating that revenue. You're improving the public transportation. Great, fantastic, right? But the pollution level is something as well, and the overall congestion has to remain lower. Now, what happened in London with ours, and I think this is very applicable to New York, because we're not quite as bad as the United States, but similar to the United States, our public transportation in the UK, on the whole, outside of the capital city, is absolute garbage. It's terrible. A few of my friends have come up to see me this weekend, and they've had to get replacement buses for for trains, I should say. And what is normally a hour journey by car has taken them 2 hours each way, so we're not great here. Outside the capital, we're useless pretty much. It's even worse than the United States, apparently. That's where everybody drives. But that's the key, right? Is the traffic numbers, are they going to stay lower? Because in London, although yes, like New York, initially the traffic numbers declined, the air quality improved, more money was spent in the public transportation network, and public transport in London is fantastic in my opinion. But traffic numbers now are even higher than they were before. Now again, there are reasons behind this. The population of London has increased over the last 20 years, therefore more people, more congestion. But they should be able to try and deal with that. And that's something that New York is going to have to face. But again, unless I'm mistaken, the population in New York, as the United States' population as a whole, is predicted to increase significantly. It's not predicted to go down anytime soon. The rate at which it increases will probably decrease, I imagine, as a percentage, but you're still going to have hundreds of thousands, eventually millions of more people in New York. So are the traffic numbers going to be better long term? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, guys, American people over in New York, let us know what you think about this. Are you a fan of this congestion charge? Do you think it'll work? What are your thoughts on it so far? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. And for much more content on the world of motoring, keep it tuned here to themotoringchronicle.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe, ring the bell as well. And we'll see you very soon, guys. Have a good one.